welcome everyone. I'm here with the magical, enchanting, beautiful Kathleen Bottrell. Welcome, Kathleen.
Hello, thank you for having me, Elle. It's lovely to see you.
Well, I'm really excited because we're talking about kind of like a topic that can become a little controversial because of how loaded it is, really, you know, and I think that I noticed some of the posts that you've been putting on social media about motherhood, because you're a mother of two now.
Yes.
Congratulations. And it suits you absolutely. I mean, I just look at you and I think, oh, there's the earth mother, you know, energy all around this beautiful human being. And I think that, you know, when I noticed the posts and what you were sharing, I was compelled actually to give you a voice or give voice to what you were saying to a wider audience. The people because the people that listen to Elle Wilson or are connected with TrueBrow in some way, because I was compelled because I loved what you were saying. And I feel that if we're going to be true in life in any way and fulfill all of what our potential, we have to let in all the perspectives. We have to let in all of the different voices and experiences and not feel threatened, not feel that one is better than the other, even though one may be, and we may have to learn that in hindsight. That's fine. But we're here to experience. We're here to evolve and to grow. And beautiful information like what you're sharing deserves a platform. Now, I want to start. This is very important because we did this once before and we're redoing it. Let's be clear with everyone, right? And the reason that we're doing it is because we want to be 100% clear to anyone that hears this that we are not saying there is one way. And we are not saying this is the best way or a better way. We're exploring motherhood. And we're exploring it in a way that is Kathleen's beautiful way. And I'm going to interject with my own experience of how I did it differently and how I feel about that now. What did I learn in hindsight, my insights? I think it's really important because the more sincere, transparent, authentic voices we have in our lives, the more opportunity we have to expand, to open as women. So, Kathleen, having said all of that and set the stage for that, you know, everyone, it's like, you know, it's like humanity is this big jigsaw puzzle, and each one of us is a unique little piece. And even if our uniqueness is just like a 0.000%, it's like when we find that, you know, it's so beautiful. And you've kind of found something so divine. And I want to be quiet now, and I want you to tell all of us what happened when you had your little baby, your first baby, because this began then, and your thoughts on motherhood and in connecting that with your business. Like what were you thought you were going to do and what ultimately happened?
Yeah, excellent. Oh, I'd love to share. Thank you, Elle. Well, yeah, so for those who probably don't know me, I'm from Adelaide, South Australia, and I was engaged to my fiance, now husband, and it was about 3 and a bit years into my business. It was called Soul Awaken Skin Therapies, and oh my goodness, absolutely loved my business. And prior to starting my business, I actually started the Beauty Therapists of Australia Facebook group. Now, I started that just out of a complete desire just to connect with other beauty therapists, and yeah, so many networking opportunities. It was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. I did end up passing that on to someone else so they could pour their love into it while I poured my love into my business, Soul Awaken. And yeah, so loving my business, had no intentions of quitting it anytime soon. Like I honestly thought I would be doing my business for the rest of my life. And like all things, you never know what kind of surprise is around the corner. And my husband and I had an unexpected pregnancy. Now, for us, that was really wonderful news because, I mean, we'd been together for 7 years at that point. We were going to be married soon anyways. But, you know, children really wasn't on our radar for at least 1 to 2 years. Like, I had a lot more I wanted to do with the business, wanted to set it up so it was ready to be able to go on maternity leave and then, you know, come back in a different capacity, hopefully have staff. There was a lot of things that I wanted to do. However, this beautiful blessing of a pregnancy, and I basically had to, for the next 7 months, get my business ready to a point where I could look after my baby and then come back. My intention was to come back at 6 months postpartum and pop her into a childcare. And I guess the story kind of begun not long after she was born, because it was about 2 weeks in, and at that point I had definitely committed to going back to work. So I was going to come back to do skin treatments at 6 months, but I definitely promised all my clients, I will be back 2 weeks postpartum. I'll send out all your products in the mail. Don't worry, I've got you. And it's funny that I look back now and I think, what the heck were you thinking, Kat? It's a pretty crazy thing to promise, but I did fulfill that promise and I did send products out. But I must say, I had absolutely no idea what it would take to look after a baby, let alone, you know, living in a postpartum body and all the things that come with motherhood. So as time went on, I really was evaluating my time that I was spending on the business and the time with my daughter and figuring out how to be a mom. And I guess I did get to a point where I looked at my business and looked at what I was doing and I just thought, wow, like I loved my business, like really deeply loved my clients and everything I was doing. And, you know, when you have that thing where I didn't even need to be paid to be doing what I was doing every day. It really was wonderful.
Like it's kind of in a way what we call our passion. You know, it's like like I will do it for free. You know, but I want to just say one little thing here,
please.
What you were doing, because see, this is about you and your lovely soul, because whatever you do, it's all about the giving. You see, someone like you, Kathleen, puts all of their heart and soul into what they do. So whatever you did, whatever you would do that 100% completely. That is you. That's something very, very beautiful about you. And you have this like a lovely sort of purity about you that I adore you, like adore you. I just think you are such a beautiful voice for young mothers, but just young women. And before you spill the beans on what happened, I really want to say that the feminine, the woman, has gone through so much, and some I would say unnecessarily, but nothing's ever really, you know, if reality is unfolding in a particular way, it's just the way it's unfolding. Yeah. But it's gone through so much. We've gone through, you know, being the feminist movement. I've never really been into that because purely I don't see myself as a not equal. I just don't see that. I don't have those filters. But what you're about to say right now is, it's for some people to hear it, it's kind of like, oh, it could be difficult. But we're talking about you. Yeah. And so I wanted to say that because, you know, when I'm hearing you talk about your passion, you are a 100% kind of girl. You know, that's you as a woman. Right? And that's why you would do it for nothing. It's like me with brows, you know, I do it for nothing. Sometimes I think I want to train everyone for free. You know, I really honestly think that. I actually think I want to just open up training and just train everyone for free, because this thing is so beautiful. It's so amazing. And then I just think, well, yeah, maybe not exactly for free, but anyway, but I think that I could do it for that because I love it so much, right? So I think that that's very similar to you, but please, I don't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to, again, set the stage. Again, very controversial topic. I want everyone to understand we're talking about Kathleen here, and there's many Kathleens out there, but sometimes they're overshadowed by the way that, you know, we kind of are a bit sort of under the fog of what the world tells us. So I want to bring up this motherhood thing. So continue on, and my apologies for interrupting your flow, but just keep going.
No, thank you. That was really lovely. And you're right, I am a very, I won't say completely all or nothing, but you're right, I do put my full love into things, and it's almost, I am compelled to. I don't feel like I almost get a choice. It is just the way I am. But I also don't like to break promises either. I really want to be loyal to my word. And I think that was a really hard part of all of this, because I still think about all of my clients every like not every day, but they come to mind. And this is 2 and a bit years almost later. So spoiler alert, I ended up leaving, closing my business completely. There was a lot of personal reasons that came into this. But I guess the main thing that really happened for me is I started evaluating the time with my daughter and then the time in my business. And I could see her changing before my eyes so quickly. And I realized how beautiful it was to just see her from the point of like a little newborn. They don't even do anything. They just, drink milk and don't even really move, to the point of like grabbing things and seeing things, and you can just see all the things processing. And I guess I fell in love with that, and I really just thought, oh my goodness, I cannot miss a moment of this. I need to be here. And I went to a childcare center and spoke to the ladies there, and I did my research, and I felt really confident about that center. But when it came to, they went to go pick up my daughter and they're playing with her, and they're like, she'll be fine here. And the tears, and I don't know if this is a similar experience for anyone, but I was crying really badly, like to the point I didn't even realize that I had these emotions about it. And it's just really sad. And I started to think, wow, I don't know if I could leave her with other people and go back into my business. And I really just had to make that decision alongside my husband. What are we going to do? Am I going to go back to my business part-time and put my daughter in childcare, or am I just going to stay home? Now, I didn't even consider that an option, Elle. For me, it was a no-brainer. I have to go back. But it was actually the grace of my husband. I think he could see the contention. Yeah, he was really sweet. And he actually said to me, he goes, do you want to stay home with Raina? That's my daughter's name. And it makes me tear up now because I remember that moment of going, like, I could take everything off of my shoulders, because at that time I was thinking a lot of things like, who am I if I don't bring in an income? It was always expected, or at least expected of myself. Of course you go back to work, and all of these preconceived ideas about just staying at home. That's kind of the way I looked at it. And it was such a relief when he said, do you want to stay at home and raise our daughter? It was a resounding yes.
How beautiful.
Yeah. It was really, really lovely.
I want to speak to that. I want to speak to the just, that word.
Yeah.
And I want to speak to the pressures that we put on ourselves as women in life. And and you know, to be a woman here is such an extraordinary experience. And I think if you know, if women really knew what it meant, and I'm not saying that some don't, but it's a rare occurrence for a woman to fully embody and understand what it means to be a woman, because the word has been is so loaded, and it's been so overshadowed by shoulds and shouldn'ts. Like you were saying, what's it like not to bring money into the house? Bloody amazing to actually have an opportunity, like looking back now, because I had all those thoughts and I lived them. I actually literally thought, no, you know, I want to bring money in. I want to be independent. And in hindsight, when I look back, I missed out, because there's a cost. You paid the cost of letting go of your clients. You paid a cost. This was not easy. I mean, you're speaking about it and you're cheering up. You know, you were letting go of like this idea, this belief system that somehow that had more value than it really actually did. Because really, it's not to say that motherhood's got more value. Each person's different. But you have to, there's a cost to everything. I paid the cost of Mrs. Independent going out there and creating all these things. But when in hindsight, when I look back and I think of, look, I'm hugging my dog, right? Who I love, let's just be honest. But I missed out on a lot of moments with my children because my focus was split. And what I'm hearing you say is I want to give my full awareness, my full attention to my children. I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can, but I've worked through all these layers of shoulds, and I've come to a specific truth inside of myself that I'm really happy with. It lands in you like that's the thing. It may never for some people. For me, do I have regrets? You know, I don't really live my life with regrets, but I also love being honest with myself and looking back and going, would I do it differently? And 100%. But I don't look back and go, oh, that was terrible. My children are amazing human beings. But the person that I was then, she couldn't do it differently. But what I'm hearing you say is you work through it. And I love that. And what I would like to say to women in the world, every woman, not just in the beauty industry is like a tiny little dot. There's women everywhere. Work through it, girls. Don't let the world dictate to you what you are going to be. And it could be that you never have children. Don't let it could be the total opposite. It could be that you go out and you take over the world. Go do it. But work through everything, because what Kathleen just told you in such an amazingly non-judgmental, beautiful way is that she did the work. She worked through it. She didn't just let the world dictate to her. She felt the feelings. She had to, you know, she was like, bam, 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 bam. Oh, this is painful. This is, I'm giving up something. Am I not? That's what you're saying, isn't it? You worked through it and got to the truth of the matter for you. And that doesn't mean you're someone else's truth when they work through it. Please work through it, girls. Don't let the world dictate to you who and what you're going to be for your children, for your life, for your husband. You know, we're moving beyond these dimensions now. You know, we're not in like this like limited dimension. The world is expanding. The universe is expanding. And what you're saying is just do a little bit of work and find out what your truth is. That's where your happiness lies, right? It's not which way. Is that correct? Is that what you're actually saying?
Oh, yeah, that was a beautiful interjection and summation of a lot of the thoughts that went through this, because it was a really oh, it was painful coming to these conclusions, because for a while there, I'm working 2 weeks postpartum, sending out skin orders, doing Zoom calls, and loving it. And loving that I have my daughter around, but realizing my idea of, you can't just always put a baby down and rely on them sleeping. And they needed a lot more work. And I also realized I needed to give a lot more love and attention to my business in order for it to flourish. And yeah, it was a lot of thinking about, oh my goodness, I'm going to throw away all the work and the hard work I've done to build my business to where it's at. Because I think, especially for myself, I don't come from a background of wealth by any means. Both my parents haven't worked my entire life. So, to actually be able to build something felt like a really big achievement to me. And then there was just a lot of kind of perspective that I had about making that decision. I felt unworthy. I felt like maybe there was something wrong with me. Why can't I actually just suck it up and, go back and do the work and, be a mom? Like, maybe I just don't have the capacity to do both. And a lot of kind of judgmental thoughts on myself, because I had a lot of beautiful examples of women, especially in our industry, who have really successful businesses from what I can see in the outside, and look like they have really happy and thriving families. So a lot of horrible things I had to say about myself. But then I just realized we're not talking about other people's lives here. This is actually my daughter, my husband, my life. And we were in the position that we actually had not committed to a 2-income lifestyle. And what I mean by that is we were always living off one income. We've learned for quite some time to live quite frugally, I guess you could say. We're doing a lot better now as well in terms of frugality. We've learned a lot. But we never committed to a mortgage with 2 incomes. We actually don't have any mortgage at this stage. We've actually had a lot of debt. My husband and I came to the relationship but with a lot of baggage, a lot of things, a lot of mistakes that we'd made. So we didn't start off on the right foot by any means. But we were able to make that decision and still be able to afford to live in a way that would keep a roof over our head and keep us fed and comfortable. And look, we love the place that we're living, but we've usually lived on the worst house in the best street, like really always problems in the houses we've lived in. But that's the decision we've made to, essentially to afford.
I want to say something here. This is not about motherhood. We made a boo-boo. Everybody listen carefully. This is important. This is not really about motherhood, what this beautiful girl's telling you. This is about finding your truth. This is unbelievable. This is like I'm just like, I don't know. I don't even know I'm just in awe of you. She's giving you such gifts. She's showering you with what's real because she did the work and she didn't let the world. That's what real power is in a woman. Right? The world doesn't dictate to her. The world doesn't say to her, oh, you're nothing unless you're accomplished in this way. You're nothing unless you have 10 houses or you've got, $1 million in the bank. The world's not dictating to her. She is a powerhouse. She is a perfect example of someone that finds her absolute truth and then pays all the costs to live for that. And her truth was 100% full attention on my child. And I pay all the costs of that, the pain, the letting go of beliefs that the world has instilled in me. And the world will do that. But the beliefs have to exist inside of you first. If someone comes to me and says, you are so fat, sorry, am I allowed to say that word now? Probably not. Anyway, sorry, I'm old. Just forgive me. But if someone says that to me, right? Well, I'd go, oh, thanks for sharing. I don't really see it that way, because at the moment I'm not, right? If I was, then I'd go, I'd probably think, maybe I should do something about that, or, is it that obvious? So I guess what I'm saying is, unless the belief exists in you first, the world's got no power over you, right? So the beliefs existed in you, Kathleen, initially. So that's why they were hitting. Does everyone understand what I'm saying when I'm saying that? And you can only be hurt by something you actually believe is true in the first place. Other people can't hurt you, right? People just don't come along and go, oh, gosh, you're, I don't know, ugly or something. And you kind of go, unless you feel that about yourself inside yourself, you've already got this belief going on in here. If someone says that, you're going to think they're a bit crazy if you don't have that belief, right? But if you have the belief, you're going to be affected. And then that becomes an opportunity for you to go, wow, why do I feel so affected by that? Do I really believe that inside of me? These beliefs existed, and they exist in every woman, because these are the things that we're meant to integrate as women. We're meant to question them, not accept them. Like, if Kathleen, if you were to accept I should be earning an income, you would not be at home with your children.
Yeah.
So what you're telling us is you had a choice. You gave yourself a choice by exploring everything all the way to its core, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. And I had to wear the burden of feeling unworthy for a while. And I would say I'm still dealing with that. It comes up and I think, gosh, I really need to be doing more. And I know that belief, well, those thoughts are really a reflection of, not feeling like it's worthy enough just to be at home raising my children.
Where did that come from? Where's that come from?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't exactly know the origins, but I've been trying to explore it on some of the Facebook posts I've been sharing. And I mean, my thoughts around it is, I know that when I was in primary school, we'd always like draw pictures of what we wanted our ideal life to be. And I do remember things like wealth being something that we children would want to attain. It was something that came up for me. And I think that's because we didn't have money. So maybe that's where that came from. And I just always was told as well, you really, as I think as especially because my parents never had jobs, for example, they never had a job, let alone a career, that I need to pursue a career and I need to be independent. I need to, I really need to look after myself. And I guess I would have had a mistrust in people that love and care for me, because there were things that weren't ideal growing up. So, I mean, it all, for me, I would say it comes a lot back to childhood, but also the conditioning of being at school and high school. I remember I never was presented with the idea of being a mother. It was kind of like an implied thing that, yes, one day you will have kids because everyone has kids generally. And it was never really you kind of plan for them and you kind of build your life around it, and then your life will be transformed in terms of, how to live. And I never really was given the idea that also you should really choose a career as a woman that would support being a mum, unless you have other ideas, which is totally fine. Everyone can live their own life and decisions. But I think that's probably my origin story. But yeah, a lot of just not feeling like it was enough. And I still wrestle with it, but I definitely remind myself, no, like, you are doing really important work.
I think that this not enough thing, is just women. What we have to understand as women is that we've been given an opportunity to unravel what is false with what is true. And if we don't go down that adventure and make our life about that adventure, about unraveling the false and letting the truth rise up for us, we'll never find our true passion. You've found what you are deeply passionate about, and your heart is just complete in that. It's whole. It's living it. And for me, that's kind of like such a divine inspiration. You're a divine inspiration, really. And you are so enough, and motherhood is so enough. And the world has told us for so long that it's not. And it's okay, because, you know, I'm in Greece. Can you imagine here what the women are going through, because they're finding their feet? And it's like a lot of the children get left with grandparents, and the women go out to earn a living and to prove themselves and to be accomplished. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's your real truth and you have gone to the core of it and you've questioned everything, and you say, you know, is this real? Am I missing out on something here that in 40 years' time, hello, you might think, oh, I could have done it differently. But I didn't do the work back then, because I didn't even know anything about that. I was just like living this life, right? I was a person that did not question. Now, of course, that changed for me, and therefore changed my entire life. I couldn't exist as that person my entire life because I didn't come for that. So I hope I'm making sense. So I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I'm saying, please do the work. Don't allow the world to dictate to you anymore. Women have come with, you know, you entered this world as a woman. Your girls, for example. Have you got 2 girls?
Oh, no. So I have, my eldest is a girl, and then my 6-month-old is a boy.
Look at me. I'm getting old. I'm so sorry, Kathleen. So you've got like me, boy and a girl. So your beautiful boy and girl, well, your girl, she's going to have to go through this too. But because you've been through this, you'll be able to be a full support to her, because you'll say, well, yes, I remember the times I had to question all of these things. And yes, I'm not telling you that it's easy, but, you know, I really came to a beautiful realization that I wanted to be with you the whole time. I really wanted to immerse myself in motherhood. Every time it comes up for you that you're not doing enough, I don't want you to believe it, if you don't mind. I want you to just lay it down, because motherhood, to fully immerse ourselves in motherhood, is a divine, it's divine. It's not to say, you know, somehow it's almost like, you know, like, you know, how do I explain it? It's so funny, isn't it, with that? And you're going to be really careful when you share these things, but it's kind of like, if you choose motherhood, then that's beautiful and it's fine. And if you have to deal with all these thoughts that come up, you will do it, but you will choose the thing that is authentically you. If you choose work and you've done the work on it, and you really know that, you know, you don't mind that the kids are in childcare or with your hubby or whatever, that's okay too. But look at it, not from the voices of other people, what other people are telling you that's right for them. Like you said before, I was wondering, you know, why can other people do it? Well, let's hope those people have done the work and they're living their true life. They may not be. So how are you going to go and compare yourself with those people? You can't do that.
Yeah. And what I think you were kind of explaining just then is the choice to become and fully immerse yourself into motherhood is actually a very vulnerable decision. That's what I've realized. Vulnerable in so many ways. So vulnerable in the sense that I've now laid my career to the side. So if I decide to go back to the beauty industry, I've got a lot of work to do. I need to retrain. I need to re-immerse myself. I have to retrain my brain. I'm vulnerable in the sense that I'm not accumulating a superannuation. I'm vulnerable as I don't earn an income. I'm 100% reliant on my husband, and I'm vulnerable in many ways. That, I mean, my husband is the provider, and he's a wonderful, wonderful man, and I'm so grateful that we met each other and got married. We were in a bad place when we met, so I'm really glad that we met each other and not other people. But, you know, we both have the same values, and he really takes care of me, and I feel safe with him. But I can completely acknowledge it's a really vulnerable position to be in, because I'm really having to let go of that need to protect myself, support myself. there's a sense of control that I've really had to let go of, and I still try to control a lot of things, still working through that. Not to say that he has full control and, you know, is maneuvering my life. It's more so letting go and just being taken care of. That's the position that I'm in. It's he's the provider and I'm the love giver of the home, I guess you could say. I'm taking care of everyone, including him.
I'm going to interrupt you here because this is important.
Please do.
The role of a husband can be anything that person feels is true for them. And your husband has chosen that he wants to be the provider, right? We don't have to go and put particular labels on people the way that they were put. But he loves doing that and fulfills him. So it's true for him. You adore being with your children and fully immersing yourself in motherhood. And what you just said, you're a gem. You know, what you have just, you don't even realize what a gem you are. That's what makes you even more of a gem. What you have just said, right, is that I've had to let go, I've had to, you know, like step into really another human being providing for me and letting go of this whole idea that, you know, of independence, or that's a huge thing for women. It is a vulnerable, it isn't really, only to our egoic kind of mind, right? It's vulnerable. But really, the real role of the masculine and the feminine, you've just got it all lovely. You've just got it handled. And when you said that when you go back into the industry, you will go back. I did exactly what you do because at some point I woke up about my children, right? And I wasn't working. And I was making their lunches. And every time I made their lunches, I felt like I was doing something divine. They didn't eat them. They used to give their organic sandwiches to kids and get hundreds and thousands. That's what they used to do. I used to buy loaves of bread that were like spelt bread for $7, right? Make these sandwiches. And one day I caught them. I said to them, I thought I had to have this little feeling. I said to Yanni, I said, how was your sandwich today? You know, and he said, oh, yeah, good. And I said, oh, what was in it again? I can't remember. He didn't know. And I said, he's swapping your sandwiches. You know, these are like $10 sandwiches, you know, that I was making. But that was hilarious. But the point is, I never would have known that if I didn't have the time, you know. So for me, there was a certain time in my children's lives where I didn't work. I was at home with them. Single mother. I gave up everything. I was on very low income and oh my gosh, it taught me so much because before that, it wasn't like that. And now it's not like that, right? But that chunk of time for me where it was humbling to be a mother. And I adored it. When I went back into the industry again, I cried. I sobbed in the living room when my children were at school because I wasn't able to pick them up on time or go and do reading with them at school, because I understood the value of this motherhood thing. It was, for me, it was, that's why I love what you're saying, because I had a taste of it and I didn't have as much as you may have because I didn't get it early enough. But for other people, that might not matter. But for me, it did. And it doesn't have to matter for you if you're listening. You have to find your truth. We're telling you here, as a woman, dig for your truth. Do not be dictated to. That's where you give away your power. Don't let other people tell you what to do. Don't let other people define you. You have to dig and dig for your truth. And when you find your truth, you're going to know, because it's going to be your happiest moment. That's what we're saying, isn't it, really? And for me, when I went back into the industry, trust me, that's when I created TrueBrow, because I'd given myself wholeness, fullness. And I'm telling you that when you go back into the industry, if you ever do, because you might do something completely different and you may never do anything at all, who knows? Lucky you. The point is, the point is that when you go back in, you'll be a completely different human being. And who I was when I went back in wasn't the woman that I was in my 20s, struggling, striving. like crazy, trying to achieve something to be approved of, to accomplish for others. I went in, you know, in a very kind of whole way, and therefore I was able to bring in the system that then has now become the TrueBrow system. I was different. And I'd never strip waxed in my whole life. All I'd done was hot waxing. I thought, what, strip waxing? What the heck is that? I'd been out in the industry for 6, 7 years, right? I hadn't done an eyebrow for 7 years. And I'm thinking, oh, this is the question. How do I make this brow beautiful? All of a sudden in came the information because I was able to receive it. Motherhood is about receptivity. Femininity is about being able to receive. To have an intimate relationship with a man, a woman needs to be receptive, open in her total, clear, feminine energy. It's very challenging for us women. But motherhood is like that too. And sometimes you'll fail, sometimes you'll succeed. And other things are too, you know, with your clients. It's not just that. But when we truly, truly see the value and the humility of just owning our authentic decisions, our authentic aspect of ourselves. What is true for you right now? It might change in 10 years' time. You've owned it and you're sharing it with the world, and never question it. I don't want to hear you ever question it again, Kathleen. Stop it right now. This is it, because this is too good, right? It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And your children will know that you did that. It doesn't mean that there's going to be a different outcome for them. It just means that they'll know that it's a seed that you've planted.
Yes.
But you planted it for yourself. And I commend both you and your beautiful husband. I think what an amazing integration of masculine and feminine. You are really doing it, girl. I don't even know that you realize what you're actually doing on a deeper level. To integrate masculine and feminine energies here on this planet it's unbelievably challenging for women. And women have all the power. Girls, you've got all the power. You don't realize you've got the power in your little hands to have the best life. This girl's having a great life. Doesn't mean that it's without issues. You were just sharing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I am living a really wonderful life. And I would say the choices that we have made, they come with consequences. So some of those consequences, I'll outlay them, but I will just say a lot are to do with not really planning for this as well. And I think that's what I've been speaking to is myself prior to becoming a mum, trying to give information kind of like, hey, you know, this is an option if you want. This is some things that you could think about if you wanted to. But some of the, I guess, consequences would be we're really late to buying a house. Not that there is meant to be a specific timeline of buying a house, but when we do eventually save up the money to do so, yep, it'll be a lot later. It'll be in our 30s. Well, I'm already in my 30s, but my husband is 2 years younger. So well into that, and our children, not the biggest deal. Some other consequences would be I didn't really come out of my business with a profit. If anything, I've actually brought debt into the relationship because of a lack of planning for this. So look, there are many other kind of consequences that we're still dealing with, but weighing them up, it's a no-brainer now. I just feel so grateful for my husband for offering that, and just every day to spend that time with my children. I absolutely adore them, like any mother does, like every single mother. They love and adore their children. I just feel really blessed to be with them and teach them every single day. And
but what you're saying, go ahead, Kathleen. I think what you're saying, go ahead. Sorry. I just love what you're saying. It's so amazing. Yeah. Go on.
Thank you. I just said I do look forward to having this conversation with my children later, particularly my daughter, in saying that I chose you. And not to say that not choosing your children in that way is a bad thing, but I think for them, and when they understand how we were brought up, the baggage that we brought to the relationship, the lives that we have lived full of challenges. And look, we're starting new ways of living generationally. We're kind of writing the script and not knowing if we're doing it the right way, I guess you could say. But I do look forward to telling both of my children that, and just them knowing that I've dedicated this to them, and I don't expect anything from them by no means, but I do look forward to many things to come.
It's a beautiful story, you know, that you decided to write for your family. It's yours, uniquely yours. And the thing again that we have to say is just dig for your truth, like Kathleen did. Your truth might be, I've got to grow a business. I want to crack the code of money. I want to crack the code of this. I want to crack the code of, you know, whatever. It's going to be great. You know why all the challenges do not overwhelm you to the point where your decision is so clear? Because you did the work. When your decision is clear, girls, not because it's dictated to you or it's on shaky ground, because it's not really yours. Kathleen's telling you it's hers. So that decision that you've made, you gave yourself one choice, which is a huge thing. And the decision that you made is so grounded in your true, authentic self, regardless of what the world tells you, your own beliefs were telling you, other people might tell you, you might look on social media and think, oh my gosh, you know, your own voices in your own head. Your decision is so cleaned up and so unpolluted by all of that, that it's going to hold you, both of you. Your whole family will be held by that. That's what we're saying. We're not saying staying home is better than not staying home. No? Exactly. Oh, I'm so sorry. The sun is coming through my window and I have to change just very quickly. I'm going to just have a little flick of my lighting, because otherwise I'm going to look too bright. And
you look like the sun.
Oh, nothing like looking like the sun, isn't it? And so I think that's what we're talking about. And I love that we've had this dialogue, because we didn't really know that when we first started.
Yeah.
And I think, girls, these are the kinds of dialogues we should never be afraid of. You know, really, like I said earlier, you can't be hurt by anything other than your own false beliefs. Nothing can hurt you. You can never ever be and if something does, you do feel the hurt of something, then you have an opportunity to undo what's false inside of you, because you are these divine multidimensional beings here with so much power, so much energy, so much abundance. And abundance, I want to share something about that, because you keep talking about money. And I want to tell you this, abundance is not just about money. Abundance is the abundance of feeling, of love, the abundance of thought in a way that's pure and clear and clean, the abundance of with your children, the abundance of intimacy. Money is just one aspect of abundance. I find abundance in my day every single day that has absolutely nothing to do with money. But the world again dictates abundance to us in the form of a piece of paper. It dictates abundance in the form of security. You are not secure if you have your own home. You're not secure if you don't have your own home. You don't have security really here. I mean, we know that. The last few years have proven that. You don't have any. We're living really, if you live like the Greeks live, guys, day to day, they're doing pretty well. In Australia, we're still of that mentality that, you know, we're living for the future. This is not to say don't plan, but abundance is not found in money alone. You could have abundance in your spiritual life. You can have abundance of heartfeltness. You can have abundance in so many areas. In abundance in the life with your husband, abundance in sexuality, abundance in so many different ways. So let's not confuse abundance with money. It's just a tiny little speck of what real abundance actually means. You could be the poorest person on this planet and be so abundant that even the tree will just drop a piece of fruit and land it next to you so you can eat, and you don't even have to go and pick it. Like, I want you to think about that. You know, it's like, let's not be dictated to. Let our decisions not be dictated to us by a world that is so upside down and confused in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can all think of just the happiness that a lot of people in even third world countries experience, the gratitude that they have for the lives that they live. We see these examples everywhere, and it really comes down to what you value as well. And I think, like you said, the truth, staying true to what you value, because if you're not, this is my opinion, but if you're not living to what you truly value, you're always going to be in a state of dis-ease, like, oh, I really, really value this, but my action is showing otherwise. And resentment would build up, I can assume. I mean, I lived like that for a bit, and I don't think it's a very healthy way. And I completely concur your statement regarding abundance. And that's what I've had to let go of, you know. Not that I've had wealth in abundance, but the idea that that is going to make me feel safe. It's not my safety net at all.
Well, the thing is, it just isn't. You know, in this world, we kind of, money means different things to different people. Money can mean power, freedom. For me, money's, I relate it to freedom. Is that a real, a true relationship? No, not really. My freedom exists within me. It's got nothing to do with how much money I have. If I'm doing something I don't want to do for the money, that would be a devastating thing.
Yeah.
So I want to go back. Pardon?
I said, especially if you're going against your values.
Yeah, and it's even deeper than your values. You can even go deeper than your values. You know, what are you here to be in this world? Why did you come here? You didn't come just because you were born. What did you come to work with, move with? You know, what are you here? Like, if a woman has to ask that question, she'll be a better mother. She'll be a better wife. She doesn't have to do self-love. She will just be the love, you know, like, we know that. And we have to open up these conversations. We have to smash that fear of, might be painful. But what if it's true?
Yeah, and it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to really think that you were going to do this certain way of living and then go, oh, okay. Now that I'm a little bit older and experienced more, I think I'm actually going to do the exact opposite. And I'm, you know, and that's, I guess, what I have done. And like you said as well, is just listening to that and going, oh, I need to live in the right way here. Otherwise, I mean, I'm just going to look back and feel resentment. We don't.
Well, you know what's funny too? It's like, you know, sometimes we put things on, people put things on social media, and all of a sudden they've had this life awakening change inside of them, and they think, oh, well, you know, I've put it out there. Can I really go and, you know, this is why what you share on social media, just be careful, because honestly, you know, you are a evolving woman. You're evolving all the time. And look, I've had women that have said to me, I never want to have children. No way. Oh, yuck. And then they go and have them because it just happens. And honestly, I've never seen them more fulfilled and more happy. This is not to say that's for everyone. We are not drawing a line in the sand. We're trying to open up a dialogue that's saying something totally different. If you hear us today, when you listen to this, and we're being vulnerable talking about this with you in some way, right? Now you hear it and you hear judgment, you're not listening correctly. If you hear us and you think we're telling you to do one thing over another, you're not listening. Your filters are blocking you from hearing the real message in this interview, which I think is just amazing. And women need to stand up and have more of these conversations. And it's not about division and separating the mothers that are working from the mothers that are not, and one's better than the other. That is a falsity.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you do in this life, Kathleen, I believe there is a cost to. If you work and you've got children, you're going to pay a cost. If you don't work, you're going to pay another cost. But this is what this world is about, right? You're going to be challenged all the time because you're forever evolving. It's an adventure. When you look at life as an adventure rather than a solid, clear things, it opens you just open into this unbelievable current of, oh, anything is possible.
Yeah, do the next right thing. And yeah, that's kind of how we're going at the moment. Do the next right thing for us.
See, isn't that beautiful? Yeah.
And it's not what the world is telling me. That's really what I've stepped away from, is the ideas that I had that the world, I mean, it's not the whole world, but I was following a certain belief system of how I should be. And I stepped out of that and said, nope, I'm now just going to do the next right thing, the next decision that's best for our family. And this is what we've come to. And everyone will make their own decision, what's best for their family. So I respect all mothers.
Well, what an amazing thing. What an amazing thing to bring a human being, a soul, into this world.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
And
such a privilege. It's an honor.
It really is. And it's it's just so beautiful. And we want to acknowledge that without diminishing how people choose to do it. We want to acknowledge the miracle of having another human being in your body, creating it, and pushing it out, right?
Yeah.
Either pushing it out or however it comes out, it's still going to come out. And then it's, you're there to take care of it, and look, there are many mothers that stay home and resent the fact that they're at home.
Yeah, and it's not drudgery, I promise you. There are some really mundane things that aren't technical, things that are repetitive, some frustrations.
Oh, no, really? Around children? Oh, come on now.
I'm not even going to share some of the funny things.
I think we know them all. We do know them. But go ahead.
We do. They're very cliche. But in saying all of that, it's not a horrible thing like children running around under your feet and annoying you. I never at the end of my day go, oh, I wish I was doing something else. Like when I really just step into it and go, wow, I get to do this with them. Like I can do everything at my own pace and really enjoy, like if I just look at my daughter and the joy in her face and then see my son and how he's just learning new things. He's a little baby. It's really, really joyful. And all the, repetitive things, they're just things that it's about serving. It's about I'm serving them, and just a bit of a mindset shift. So don't, think it's a bad thing to any ladies out there who are thinking about motherhood, or maybe if you're the one that said, I'm never going to be a mother, because I said that. I'm never having children. I'm never bringing children into this world. I've said that. You don't need to hold steadfast to that. You can change your mind, and you might have a completely different opinion later, like you said before.
Yeah, I agree. And I think again, just to wrap this up, Kathleen, I want to have another conversation with you. It'll be next year now because my books are so full, but we'll have a new version of you again, because you will have been richer and fuller in your own body and how you are being here, because I think it really is about how you're being at home with your children too. If you haven't, the decision you've made is allowing you to experience the fulfillment of motherhood. That's the difference. So girls, even if you are stuck at home and you really wish that you weren't, and you're feeling trapped and you're feeling like you're restricted and limited, just go in and dig a little deeper. Ask for help. We're happy to support you. Ask for help. Have a conversation, about it, even internally. Your own inner higher self has got all the answers for you. Close your eyes, go on in and ask, what is this about? How can I move through this? you know, how do I find my peace being at home as a mum and feeling like I want to do more and I feel I hear that all the time. And I think that it's fine, but if you can find your peace at the time that you are at home with your children, you will enjoy the experience so much. And then the time will come when you can make a different decision. And the times you're not with them, then you have that. You know, it's kind of like being full in every moment in your life by coming to the true answers for you, being that authentic you. Don't let the world tell you who and what you are. Yeah. That's it. Don't let the world tell you who and what you are. You figure it out for yourself. Kathleen, I think those children are extremely lucky to have a mum and a dad that have done this deep dive in to make this, you know, authentic, true decision that they're living with despite the challenges that comes with it. Big deal. Who cares what you get to hang those little Tootsie socks up, you know, 100 times a day or week or whatever, you know, change millions of nappies. At the end of the day, you know, when you have a decision you really can live with because it's your true decision, unbelievable, amazing. Thank you for your time, beautiful mother, Earth Mother.
Thank you so much.
She really is. How could you imagine that she said she's never going to have children? I can't even imagine it. Anyway, so thank you for your precious time away from your beautiful family. We will speak again. And we will find the richer, even more divine, beautiful Kathleen Bottrell. Did I say that right? I did, didn't I?
That's right.
I did. And I'm off to another meeting because that's our life and she's out there doing her thing. So thank you so much. And we'll be back again to in 2024. Happy Christmas and a happy new year, beautiful woman. And yeah, we'll be back to chat about more things. Bye for now.